Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to be going over all of the ultimate enchants in the game and ranking them from, well, S to F tier on how good they are and how likely they are to be used. I'm gaining subscribers very quickly, which is kind of very nice, but you should still subscribe to help that go even faster. Originally, I said I wanted to hit 250 subs by the end of the year, and now I'm at 330 or something, I don't know. Let's see if we can hit 350 subs. That would be kind of funny by 2021. If it's 2021, just subscribe anyways. Do giveaways every weekly. Join my Discord server. I stream weekly as well. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright. So, I have our tier here with F to S tier. I'm going to rank all the enchantment books. There's not nearly enough to fill up this entire thing. Now, to make it easier for people to understand, I have got each enchantment book, like Bank 1, with an item, like Gold Ingot, because it saves you money. No pain, no gain, as it gives you experience. Some of these don't make sense, but don't question that. But most of these have different items with a book attached to them. However, I don't want to buy some books, as you know, I've got 37 mil in my bank, which is a good amount. But if I search up Chimera, I don't really want to spend 80 million coins on a video that I'm just gonna sell later. Like, no. Just no. Okay? Just no. I'm also not gonna buy the expensive ones, such as Legion, One for All, because I'm just gonna sell them later. I just don't want to. One for All, and One for All, Legion, Chimera, Soul Eater. However, I still have them marked by each one thing. This one is Legion, Chimera, Legion, Chimera, One for All, Soul Eater. And then each of these is marked by a thing. Don't ask why. Some of them I was like, it would be kind of cool, I guess. Like Swarm. Oh, there's lots of tiny cocos in a cocoa bean. That would be fun. Don't judge me. Let's get started. Now, first one is Bank, represented by a Gold Ingot. I'm gonna do two at a time, and No Pain, No Gain, represented by Experience Bottle. Now, Bank 1, if you didn't know, what it does is it saves 10% of your coins on death, up to Bank 5, where it saves 50% of your coins. So you need to have a total somewhere in your armor if you want this to actually work correctly, of Bank 10. However, this enchant is probably one of the most useless, but not the most useless enchant, as early game players can still use this if they do lose money. But it's for the majority of people, it's useless because A, lol, imagine dying. B, you have a cookie. Like, you just take your drugs and then you won't die. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Or just put them in your bank. So this enchant is one of the worst ones. However, early game players can still use it as it costs like literally 32k to get bank 10. And like if you're early game, that's actually quite a good deal. They literally cost like 2k per. It's kind of insane how cheap they are. So I'm going to be ranking gold as bank as one of the worst enchants. Like there's no question. For the majority of players, it is the worst enchant. Especially since you get a free cookie in the beginning. Like, also you make money from cookies. You get a cookie, you spend the bits on like, I don't know, God Pot or something. You get the money back, then you spend it on a cookie again. Like you can just continuously do it. There shouldn't be any need to use it. Now, on to the next one. This one is probably even worse somehow than bank. It's no pain, no gain. You have a 20% chance to gain 10 experience orbs every time you kill. Every time you take hits from enemy mobs. Like, what does this even mean? I'm not gonna put it on any of my armor sets, but I think this means when I get hit, I gain 10 experience orbs. But, like, how much is 10 experience orbs? I don't know. Probably like one level each time you get hit. Which really isn't a lot, considering you can literally splash, like, you can literally splash Titanics, Colossals, Grands, and get, like, 40 EXP levels per, instead of having to have an enemy hit you 40 times. I don't really get this one. I feel like it's useless. I don't see any scenario where you would ever need to use it. Like, let's be real. There's no scenario where you're gonna use no pain, no gain. Next one is Ultimate Jerry. Now, if you sim for Jerry, this is obviously an S1, but I mean, I don't care that much about Jerry, so I'm gonna put this at a solid C, because people don't get upset at me if they sim for Jerry. Either way, reason for this being is it goes on the Jerry sword, which if Ultimate Jerry 5 is actually a decent-ish weapon. It can match like the AOTD, but it's just so not worth it. Like, who's using an aspect of the Jerry? Just buy a Livid Dagger, or Flower of Truth, or a Warped AOTE or something. It's not really worth it, but if you sim for Jerry, you might be wanting to max out a Jerry sword, so I'll give you that. If you want to max out a Jerry sword, it could be decently useful, I guess. Next one. Now this is where we start to get into the actual enchants that actually matter and do things. We've got Combo. Every mob kill within 3 seconds grants 2 strength and 1 crit damage, going up to Combo 5, which is I think like 10 or something. I don't know, I never have used Combo before. Let's see. Yeah, Combo 5. Every mob kill within 15 seconds grants 2 strength and 1 crit damage. Which honestly, this is a pretty good enchant. Like, if you're in dungeons and like in especially floor 7 boss, if you kill, since there's someone with the skeletons, within 15 seconds you can probably get like 50 to 60 kills. Unless like an extra 100 to something strength. Which is pretty good, but at the same time, in dungeons you get so much strength anyways. So, I think this enchant is a solid... Again, take this how you will, since I'm not the know-all. I mean, what am I saying? I know everything. I'm God. Either way, take this with a grain of salt. It's not perfect. I'd probably say this is like a B tier, because you can use it. Like, it's an actual viable enchant. You can use it in a good amount of scenarios, and it's also pretty cheap. It costs like 50k for a tier 1. So if you're putting on like an AOTD or something, this actually could be a pretty viable enchant. I wouldn't say it's that good, but you can use it and people wouldn't question you that much. Moving on to the next one, we've got Wisdom. Now, Wisdom is just kind of really, really good, in my opinion, because it gives you intelligence. It's not the best armor enchant. Legion or Last Stand is better depending on your scenario. But, I mean, it boosts your intelligence at max by 100 per, which in dungeons is quite nice. So I'd probably give this, I'd say a B tier. Like, it's not the best, A tier. It's not the best enchant ever for armor, but it's very good. Like, you can see people with storm armor using this. It's good in a lot of scenarios. If you're a berserker, it's probably not that useful, but in a lot of scenarios, it is very useful. Next one is similar to that, however different, and, in my opinion, a lot better. We've got Ultimate Wise. Ultimate Wise is just downright one of... Okay, so Ultimate Wise is an S tier enchant. It is, like, so incredibly good. It's kind of insane. Like, people use it on their AOTEs, their zombie swords if they have them. Like, I use Ultimate Wise on, like, everything, because it's so nice. It makes you spend 25 mana instead of 50, or 125 instead of 250. It is good for anywhere from early game to end game. Hyperion, most people have Ultimate Wise on it. AOTEs, most people have Ultimate Wise on it. It's just an overall incredible enchant, since it just makes you cost so much less mana, which is just amazing. So I'm putting that at S tier. Next one is Last Stand. Increases your defense by 5% when you're below 40 HP, going up to 25% when you're below 40 HP. Now, I haven't actually tested it out, and I think it's hard to test it out, so you have to be lower than 40 HP. 40%. I don't know if it stacks per, like if you have all pieces on, like if it doubles your defense when you're below 40% health. If it does, that's pretty dang good. So I put that at A. The reason I'm not putting it at an S is because A, you have to have it on all pieces in order to double your defense. Also, when you get into later dungeon floors, most mobs do 2 damage anyways. Like, it's very, very good, but it's not the best of the best enchants. Now, the next enchant is going to be Rend. Now, there's no real other enchant for bows, so like this is the only enchant for bows, and it's actually a pretty good enchant. What it does, if you didn't know, is when you shoot a mob, let's just say it's a dragon, you shoot 50 arrows into the mob. With Rend, if you have that bow out, you can left click, and then it'll summon all the arrows back in, dealing 5% of your crit damage, or at best, 25% of your last critical hit. So let's say you have 25 arrows into an Ender Dragon, and your last critical hit was like, I don't know, to make math easy, 100,000. That would be, I don't even, like 25k times 50. That's a lot of damage. It's very, very good. So this is a very, very good bow enchant. Also, there's no real other bow enchants. I think you can technically put Swarm on a bow enchant, but I don't really know. So I'm gonna put this at again A tier. Like this is a good enchant for bow if you have it. Not all bows, like Boomerang isn't the best. If we could go in Boomerang, that would be kind of insane, but it doesn't work since Boomerang is a bone. It's a bone. So now we're getting on to some of the more expensive ones, such as Swarm. Swarm is a very good enchant. Increases your damage by 1.25% for each enemy within 10 blocks, maximum of 16 enemies. So this is very good because at Swarm 5, it is what? Yeah, 6.25% damage for each enemy within 10 blocks. So 16 times 6.25 is like, I don't want to do math, like 70 to 80%. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to do math right now. It's winter break, no math involved. But it deals like 80% more damage, which is just really, really good if you're around 16 enemies, which in floor 7, like in boss, where it actually counts for you to do damage, you're usually around a lot of enemies. Like in second stage boss, first stage boss, third stage boss is just Among Us, but it is a very good enchant and should be used a lot. So I'm going to put this as an S tier, as it is one of the best enchants, and it can boost your damage by 80%. Like, that's just insane. 80% more damage is just stupid. So now we're getting on to the actual ones that are over a mil, and I didn't really feel like buying books for them. So, this one is Legion, this one is Chimera, this one's One for All, this one's Soul Eater. I'll start with Soul Eater. What Soul Eater does is it takes the soul of the enemies you kill, by that I mean strength, and applies it to your next critical hit, dealing 10 times the strength of the latest monster you killed. Now, it's hard to calculate the exact amount of strength, but for most scenarios, Soul Eater is insanely good. Like, insane. You can do so much stuff with it. Like, if you kill, for example, in the upcoming myth event, if you kill, like, one of the golem things, Soul Eater, you will do so much damage next hit, it's kind of stupid. However, if you're just killing, like, the common zombies, it won't do that much of a buff. But if you're hitting mobs that are actually tough and deal a lot of damage, Soul Eater is insane. So I'm going to put this at, again, another S tier, as it is a truly amazing enchantment. Next enchant is going to be the Sponge. This is Legion. If you don't know what Legion does, per person around you, up to 15 people, it buffs the stats of your armor by a lot. However, there's no Legion 5 right now, because I don't know why. But, like, Legion 3 is 22%, so it's about, like, 25%, I think. One is at full, or 0.25%. Up to 20 players, times 4. It boosts all your stat by quite a nice amount. I don't want to do the math. Don't ask me to do math. Again, winter break. But this enchant is very, very good. However, in a good amount of the scenarios, now this might be controversial, but in a good amount of the scenarios, like, you're never around 20 players. Like, you're around 20 players, you might be around within what, 10 blocks? What is it? 30 blocks, okay. 30 blocks is a good amount, but still, that's from like here to here. So, it's a good amount, but like even in drag fights, you're really only around like 5 people. So, it's not the it is one of a very, very good enchant for armor, don't get me wrong. It's good for fishing, it's good for a bunch of stuff since it boosts all stats. But you're never really around 20 players. Like, with the myth event, you're by yourself the entire time. For golems, you're around people. For dragons, you're around people. For dungeons, you're not. For slayers, you're usually not. Like, this is a pretty good enchant, but I feel like it's a little bit overrated. And yes, it can help you do like 20% more damage or something. I don't know. I don't do the math. But when do you have around 30 players? So I'm going to put this at A tier. Don't yell at me. And now the next one is Chimera. This enchant is stupid. And, well, it's just stupid. Literally, it costs 80 mil to buy a single book, and that's for the one enchant. So it's literally worth about 1 billion coins for Chimera 5 again. And it really has, like, no purpose at all. Okay, there's only like 2 scenarios where it's actually useful. One of them is with the sheep pet with Minos Relic on Hyperion, as sheep pet gives ability damage, and Minos Relic buffs that, and then it copies the stats, meaning you'll do like 20% more damage. So it's useful if you have it on Hyperion, and if you, technically speaking, have it, if you want to get the max magic find, and you have it on Daedalus Axe. But those are like 2 very, very few situations, and let's be real, no one can afford this. I'm putting it at a B tier. I know I haven't probably overrating that, but like actually no, I'm putting it like a C tier. As soon as I can get my feather back. Either way, it just isn't good for the cost. For considering how much it costs, it's not good. Like you're paying a bill enchant that really doesn't do that much in the scheme of things. Granted, it might do something in the future, since then maybe they'll change the pet stats, like they changed the tiger pet stat, they changed the sheep pet stat. So it might be good in the future, but as of right now, it's way overpriced by like an insane amount. And then finally, the last book we have is the One for All. One for All is good on 1 weapon only. Or technically speaking 2, but the second weapon isn't useful that much. The first one is a giant sword. Reason being is it buffs damage of all enemies, it buffs the damage by like a lot, base damage, but it takes away all the enchants. So a giant. As soon as I can learn how to spell, a giant sword is like good, because it will give you 5,000 damage in dungeons, and also 5,000 gear score, which I don't really get that part, but you know, whatever. Which is just really, really insane. So, it's also good on the Emerald Blade for outside of dungeons if you have over like 8 bill coins or something, but there's only like 1 person who has 8 bill coins, like, that's aching soft. Jeez, I need to stop bouncing my pufferfish. Either way, this is a really good enchant. I would probably put it at A tier as well, so it can be used in a bunch of different stuff. Moral of the story, never buy bank or whatever, it's no pain, no gain. Those are useless. Chimera and Jerry is also useless. Like, why would you spend 1 billion coins for something that's not even good? Like, please explain. Combo is good, but it's not the best. Last Stand's good in most scenarios. Same with Wisdom. Rend is the only bow enchant, so it has to be good. Sponge for Legion, as you never around 30 players, but otherwise it's good. Pufferfish for One for All. Ultimate wise is insane. Swarm's also really good, and Soul Eater. If you disagree with anything, well, too bad. Sorry, but like this is what I personally think. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.